Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Falak Khan, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions. By making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such domain expert on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Ashok Nallashivam Harinarayan. Hello, welcome, Mr. Harinarayan. We are glad to have you here today with us on FaceTime with Leaders.
Hi, I'm happy to be there. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. So let me give you a quick brief about Mr. Ashok Nallashivam Harinarayan. He is a distinguished professional with a rich and extensive background in information technology management, governance, and strategic leadership. Having served in various senior roles across renowned organizations such as Air India, AI Airport Services Limited, that is AIASL, and AIATSL, he has demonstrated exceptional expertise in driving IT initiatives, spearheading transformative projects, and fostering organizational growth. With a remarkable career spanning several decades, he has established himself as a domain-seasoned strategist, team builder, and effective communicator in the corporate landscape. He served as the general manager of IT at Air India until his retirement. Following his retirement, he continued to contribute to the industry as the Chief of IT at AI Airport Terminal Services Limited, that is AIATSL, on a contractual basis. Furthermore, he assumed the position of Senior Executive IT Governance and Management at AI Airport Services Limited, that is AIASL, on contract, demonstrating his ongoing commitment to driving excellence in IT governance and management. So, Mr. Harinarayan, our viewers would like to know in brief about your career journey so far, with highlights on career milestones, decisive professional steps, etc.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ashok Nallashivam Harinarayan. After completing my master's in statistics from Mumbai University, joined Air India in the Management Services Division as a trainee programmer in 1983. Then, after working for 6 months, was promoted as a programmer on 15 July 1983. Working in the system support group, which takes care of the system software of the mainframes then with Air India, which was day-to-day operations monitoring and system software maintenance. Continued with the team, then was further promoted as senior programmer later on in 1987, and then on as deputy manager in 1990. I was leading a team of Unisys mainframe system software specialists and ensuring system availability, confidentiality, and integrity, CIA, of the various airline systems used for passenger services, departure control services, cargo services, as well as message control services used by Air India. They were all different systems, but they used to be interacting with each other. Meanwhile, I also ensured that I upgraded my management skill by enrolling myself into a diploma in systems management certification course from Narsi Monji, and completed that in the year of 1987 while I was still working. Was the system software specialist leading the users, airline application and system software when moving to an upgraded 2200 hardware mainframes. The earlier version of the mainframe was 1100, so we were moving to that, so working on that. The advantage of having this work in the airline systems, where we were able to work on the state-of-the-art advanced real-time integrated computer systems and applications then. To put a perspective into the whole thing, I would explain it even as early as 1917, even slightly even before I joined. If you were to go to the airline office in Mumbai earlier than in the Nariman Point building, and if you want to buy a ticket to go to travel to say New York or further on to say, let us say Washington, you just have to go there to the airline office. Then I'm talking about then, and have the booking done. And also you can do the interline booking to let's say it's on Air India flights up to say New York then, and then from New York to Washington it's on American Airlines. But the systems of Air India and American, which was in India, and the system in American Airlines in the US were connected, and the booking information, your confirmation would be back in 3 to 4 seconds. This was much before the era of internet, which was available, designed and developed for commercial usage. This just to explain how the real-time system environments were there in the airline much before what we see currently today in its current form of internet-based connectivity. Then on, after working with the system software applications, I actually helped to create and build software application development and maintenance teams. So I want to give this example. Once I worked in the application software, reservations, ticketing, and fares and displays. Now, I was heading a team of experienced application specialists, but you realize that in India, you have this challenge of brain drain, and you have people moving out for better prospects to go moving abroad and all. So I used to have that situation of, hey, my team of 10 or 11 people or more, suddenly I find that they are reduced to half. I told my chief that my team strength was similar to the strength of the cricket team of about 11 members, including myself. But now I have got it reduced to the size of a basketball team. My senior management then was telling me, Hari, you just ensure that it doesn't get reduced to a tennis doubles team, lawn tennis. So then the challenge, basically to explain this point, was the challenges in ensuring that you get new people, you have to train them, you have to bring them up to the level of expertise which is expected of them. Because an airline, by the application itself, is complex, then the networking and all that, the technology wise, it was quite advanced. So so while it was easier said than done, an airline business user having highly experienced this one, it had its own challenges. Now, so I relied on my strength of team building, motivation, and training of technical personnel in the proprietary software airline reservations, and was able to set up a decent team of dedicated, hardworking, and smart application programmers for Air India. So this was one of my sort of, I would say, challenges of building teams in addition to doing the work yourself. Finally, it's a teamwork. IT always ensures that team is important than the individual. I actually later on, on behalf of Air India, I was sent to the US to work on a project in Atlanta for doing application software maintenance for a company called SETA, who wanted help, and we were having a joint project with Tata Infotech Limited. Now then it is merged with TCS now. Earlier it used to be called Tata Infotech Limited. And I was providing the technical and senior support for their teams, initially onshore at Atlanta for 3-4 months, and then back in Mumbai, setting up the offshore site for their maintenance in SEBS, Mumbai. And while I was working on this project, I additionally was also interested with working with when I was back here, in addition to working on the project for the Atlanta offshoring for Tata Infotech and Air India, was also designated as project manager for passenger reservation optimization software. Basically, in an airline, the challenge is to ensure that you can optimize the pricing based on the timing when the passenger books the ticket. So there's a revenue management software, PROS, So I was working on that to ensure that that system is set up for AI. For AI means Air India here. Now, I moved on from mainframe. You'll see that during the entire journey of mine, I've been working on various different platforms and technologies, and that is going to keep me in good stead. Even now, it does it because of able to grasp newer concepts or newer business requirements quite quickly, because that has been the part of the whole journey, be it technology or be it the sort of areas of the business requirements or the business functionalities. I was working in the MRO group of Air India, which is the maintenance, repair, and overall, which involves a totally, while that was related to the passenger services earlier, this was related to the aircraft parts inventory management. So you can imagine that the technology is different, the business areas are different, the whole aspect of handling. So it's like a, and also it was from mainframes, it was on Unix boxes, which are the mini computers, we can call it then. So there was a change in technology. Along then I was promoted at AGM somewhere then, and then I became deputy general manager in 2007. Here I was handle both the I was back to handle the mainframes because there was a need for ensuring that the application software and the system software teams are sort of working in a sort of a coherence and are able to manage, are be able to work as a team to improve the synergy which is required. Actually, I had completed my exam for the Certified Information Systems Auditor in 2001, and then I became a proper certificate I achieved after my experience in 2007. This particular certification is done by the ISACA USA. We have a chapter in Mumbai also. I have continuous professional education CPE points. So I attend lectures. In fact, I have given some lectures also earlier on in these sessions. Then in 2010, we had planned merger in 2010 of Air India and Indian Airlines. So I was required to ensure that I work as part of the project management office of Air India to ensure that the various procedures related to data mapping, transfer, migration, including the software testing, dry runs, and final migration over a period of 9 months. 9 months was a very short period where imagine two airlines, disparate systems. They were having IBM, we were having Unisys, and of course, CETA was also having a different version of the Unisys. So all this had been moved. The e-ticketing was also a challenge, and we had our in-house e-ticketing. They had on Amadeus. All these things we had to work along with the vendor to ensure that our applications are more tested and then moved correctly to the satisfaction not only of the business user, for the passengers and all the customers who are using the airline systems. So that was a sort of a done in 2011. Then I was spearheading a software project of data warehousing. You can imagine data is the most important. Data is more costly than money, I would say. Money, if it is lost, can be earned, but data, if it is lost, you can do nothing. And today we understand about data privacy and so many other aspects.
Right.
Even then, we worked on data warehousing of all the data which is coming from the various disparate systems to ensure that we can have reports and dashboards, executive dashboards created for our management using the application data. Then further on, I actually completed my COVID-5, which is actually a framework for IT governance, which I will be touching upon sometime later, if time permits, on this, where I completed the foundation course in October 2013. Then I completed the assessor examination course, also conducted by APMG. It's an international body, conducted in May 2016. So all along, I have been ensuring that I upgrade my knowledge related to IT governance, which is an area of interest to me. Then on further, I would say one of the important points where we were very proud as an Air India and a team of my colleagues, because it's not me, it's always my team which ensures that the success is possible. So we had introduced GST in India, and we had to complete by 1st July 2017, if you can remember that. And the airlines were actually working on how to go about getting the data and all that. Thanks to Air India team, my IT team, we worked on a particular process which is similar to the existing process to enable those companies or the airline systems to implement the requirement in a short time. At the same time, make it successful so that we are compliant with the GST compliance requirements of collecting the data of the person's address and all related details. And this was done. I got a chance to present on behalf of Air India in the IATA Geneva conference in the RESCOM 29 meeting on 21st June 2017. Explained, and this was accepted by IATA and all the airlines in the world, those who were flying into Air India to India then, who had to implement and provide for the GST provisions, make the modifications and were sort of ready because it was on the lines of existing methodology. It became very easy for them, and it was that's why accepted. Then on, I also was promoted general manager in February 2018, or was given in charge of IT activities of Western and Southern region of Air India, wherein I take care of all the applications and all the network, the voice communication, data center, all that. The various software which are hosted in-house, in addition to those which are outsourced to the SETA. I also completed a ISO 27001:2013 lead implementer training course for the ISMS, Information Security Management System then. Then after retirement, I was called by the AIATSL company as chief of IT for a period of a year before the COVID set in, and then I was working there to set up some of their, helping them out because they were not having an IT department as such. They were depending on Air India, and then they were wanting some sort of a hand-holding to be done. And after a gap of 2 years, again, I joined this AIASL company, which was recategorized, and which I joined as a senior executive IT, governance and management. And I was with the task of ensuring that all the dependents of this particular organization with Air India had to be moved to make it independent, be it the network, be it the applications. So the web, where the website, we had to move out into a cloud. Then we had to do it on the also ERP application of Air India was SAP. We had to move to a third party. They had chosen, and I did a risk management analysis. And based on that, I was able to provide them what are the possible pitfalls and what risk mitigation steps we need to take to ensure that this can be successfully done. And actually it got implemented. I worked for a period of 2 years now. As of now, I'm working as an independent consultant. So this is briefly my journey along for the since the time I joined Air India, then AIATSL and AIASL.
That's really very great and very interesting, and a wonderful career journey so far, we must say.
Thank you.
So could you explain IT governance to our viewers, please?
Yeah, so this is IT governance using COBIT. COBIT is a framework. It's control objective for information technology and systems. Now, so basically, when you see the concerns which any organization has, is related to project execution time, strategic alignment of IT with the business, poor security. These are the concerns. On the left side, I have the concerns, and on the right side, we have the challenges. Poor security assurance. Then you have the availability, the server or the application, handling external relationship, and also strategy. So when we talk about challenges for the concern of project execution, it's a value or the cost of the project. When you talk about strategic alignment, aligning the IT with the business is the challenge. Security, poor security assurance, so security aspects is the challenge. When you talk about availability of service, keep the IT running, which is very important because all the applications these days are real time. It's been real time for so long, but it's been real time now also. Now managing complexity of relationship between the systems and the various entities which make it happen. And of course, the strategy which is requiring the regulatory compliance. So requirements and assurance, organizations require a structured approach to manage these and other challenges. Enterprise governance of information and technology is a complex and multifaceted. So there's no one single way to do it, to design. So it has to be created according to the organizational needs, and it could differ for each organization because each organization will have its own intricacies and challenges. Members of the governing boards and senior management typically need to tailor their enterprise governance measures and implementations. They must also be willing to accept more accountability. This is important that I bring in value by the boards needing to accept more accountability for INT. INT is information and technology, and drive a different mindset and culture for delivering value. And it's just, you cannot just push it to somebody else. You need to take charge of it. In light of the digital transformation, INT has become a crucial in the support of sustainability and growth of our enterprises. Previously, governing boards could probably delegate by ignoring or avoiding INT. In most sectors, such attitudes are now ill-advised. I would say even as early as a decade old, I would say. It's not just now. So stakeholder value creation is often driven by a high degree of digitization in new business. So if you see this slide, strategic alignment is there, value delivery is there, risk management is there, resource management is there, and performance management. This is the essence of IT governance. Enterprise governance is a set of responsibilities and practices exercised by the board and the executive management with the goal of providing strategic direction, ensuring objectives are achieved, ascertaining risks are managed, verifying that the enterprise resources are used responsibly. This is another definition. And then IT governance, organization capacity exercised by the board. So it's actually the IT governance is exercised by the board and executive management and IT management. It's not just the IT department. So these is important. What does COVID do? COVID is a framework for the governance and management of enterprise information and technology aimed at the whole enterprise. So enterprise INT means all the technology and information processing the enterprise puts in place to achieve its goals, regardless of where it happens in the enterprise. That means enterprise INT doesn't mean it is limited to the IT department. It is all the information technology done by other departments on their own also probably. So wherever information and technology comes in, that is enterprise INT. So COVID framework makes a clear distinction between governance and management. So there is a quite distinction between governance and management. These are two disciplines encompasses different activities. If you see, because the importance for us as board of directors and non-executive directors is to understand the relationship between the corporate governance and the IT governance. During the time of 2019, in fact, the Institute of Internal Auditors, USA, they published their guiding principles of corporate governance. And if you see many of the things, there are similarities of ensuring that the strategic alignment is there. So the challenge is to establish a common language among all board members, especially non-technical members, which of course is a difficult task. So COVID 2019 and IIA, that is the Institute of Internal Auditors 2019, are two references to be combined to align corporate and IT aspects. It need to facilitate the relationship between board members, executive management, chief executive officer, CIOs, chief information officer, assurance providers, and internal auditors. They all have to be in sync to ensure that it's possible. So to briefly tell, IT management focuses on the supply of IT services and products and management of the IT operations. IT governance is much broader and concentrates on performing and transforming to meet the present and future demands of business and customers.
Yes.
So governance ensures that stakeholder needs, conditions, and operations are evaluated to determine balance agreed upon enterprise objectives. Direction is set through prioritization and decision making. Performance and compliance are monitored against agreed on direction and objective. In most enterprises, overall governance is the responsibility of the board of directors under the leadership of the chairperson. We all know about that. Specific governance responsibilities may be delegated to special organizational structures. We call it as special committees, which are there, which will take care of at an appropriate level, particularly in complex enterprises. As far as the management part is concerned, it does the PBRM. PBRM stands for plans, builds, runs, and monitors activities in alignment with the direction set by the governance body to achieve the enterprise objective. In most enterprises, management is the responsibility of executive management under the leadership of the CEO. So enterprise governance is about conformance and performance. Conformance is also called corporate governance. Performance dimension focuses on strategy and value creation. Enterprise governance and IT governance balance between conformance and performance goals directed by the board, improving the profitability, efficiency, effectiveness, and growth. So IT governance focus areas are strategic alignment of IT with the business, value delivery, very, very important, resource management, which is the most important, risk management, obviously very important because everything, any action taken involves risk. Even if we don't take action, it has an inherent risk. We take risk, so how do we mitigate? So risk management is a very important and of course performance measurement. So then these are this one. To make IT governance projects successful, we need to deal with the challenges, pitfalls presented by IT, which was, if you see in my journey, even including people leaving the organization is a challenge. But learning new technology, because the technology keeps changing over the period of the decades when I've been working, the technology has changed so much that individuals have to be, even now it's the same, it's nothing new. It's in fact slightly much more speedier now. So we need to work on all those. Make IT governance a shared responsibility between customer and IT service provider. When you have an IT service provider, you can't assume that your decided means it's like you're decided to outsource, but you cannot outsource your decision making. Decision making is still with the organization, with the IT department, with the management, with the board. Aligning IT governance is important. Board and executive management needs to extend enterprise governance to include IT governance. The framework for IT governance is what is COVID. I'll just go back. So there was, if you see the last one, there are 40 processes which are there, grouped into 5 domains. There are various features. There are components of this framework COVID 2019, which talks about the various processes, the organizational structures, policies and procedures, information flows, culture, behavior, skills, and the infrastructure. All these are the components which help build and sustain a governance system. The COVID 2019 works on 6 principles requires to satisfy the stakeholder needs. Components that build a governance system must work in a holistic manner. Very, very important. The governance system should be dynamic because the business is dynamic, the environment changes. So the governance system is expected to be dynamic. The governance and management activities and structures are different. The enterprise needs should be tailored to the governance, this one. And the governance system needs to include all the functions, focusing on the IT functions and the technology and information. There are design factors that should be considered by the enterprise to be done. COVID addresses the governance issues. So this is another one. This is the diagram which helps in explaining how COVID sits where. There is an ISO 17799, ISO 9000, ETL, the infrastructure library, then the COSO, and COVID is there. So they all work, and COVID provides us an umbrella. If you see the drivers are given here, the enterprise governance, the IT governance sits in between the best practices and also the enterprise governance. So business objective requirements need the IT resources, which in turn provide the various processes, which again helps in improving the business objective or achieving the business objectives and requirements. So underlining concept of the COVID framework. Excuse me. So whenever you talk about IT resources, these are 5 which is important in data, information, application, technology, facilities, and the people. So obviously you work on the data, the applications work on the data. The information is all the data which is there. And then the technologies, whatever technology is used for working on those. the facilities which are there, the resources, and in-house or this one. And of course, the most important is the people. Even if it outsource, the people within the outsource organization and also your own internal teams. So where various criteria information is effectiveness, efficiency, confidentiality, integrity, availability, compliance, reliability. Goes on. Now, just to I'm just running through to the paucity of time. I will just say the governance objective is one domain: evaluate, direct, and monitor, EDM. The management objectives are 4 domains. You have to align, plan, and organize, build, acquire, and implement, deliver, service, and support, and monitor, evaluate, and assess. So then this goes on to define them. If you see this picture, this is the COVID core model. If you see on top, you have the EDM part, which is the governance, the 5 various processes which are there for that single domain of government. Then we have this align, plan, APO, BAI, build, this one, and implement, acquire, implement. Then we have the support systems, deliver, service, and support. Then we have the monitoring, evaluate, and assess. So this is a framework which is there. There are 40 processes which are there. This is COVID-19. So it goes on, and these are the way they talk to each other. You can clearly see there is a good correlation between the corporate governance and IT governance, and they're not distinct, but they work in synergy to ensure the board and also the organization benefits. And then if you see this explains the business objectives, then the IT governance, the core bit is there, the information, all the 4 parts which we had explained earlier on: align, plan and organize, build, acquire and implement, deliver, service and support, monitor, evaluate and assess, and then the governance part of it, evaluate, direct and monitor, which is there. So both COVID-19 and Institute of Internal Auditors guiding principles for it can be used to help the board of directors and management to meet their responsibilities and create and maintain a value for stakeholders. So these are some of the references which are used, obviously, for this one. And thank you very much.
Thank you. So very nicely explained and like very intricately for everyone, like, concerning with the same. That's really very great. So we'll move ahead with the next question. So we would like to ask you, are there any set ethical standards that you have based your professional life on?
Yeah. See, ethical standards are there always, because even when we start, when you join the organization, and when you're a product developer or the application developer in IT, you work with a team of real-time software developers, and showcasing your skill set as a team person. Because it's finally the teamwork. It's not that you develop the entire the application. You develop components of it, and each of the component have to work in synergy to ensure that the end product is visible, acceptable to the business user, who is the final important person for whom the IT organization or the information is made available. Now, later on, as a senior developer and manager, also team building, because team building is also equally important. I would say ethical standards, leveraging the quality of creating and developing teams was there. On the ethical front, I ensured always that the credit is given to the person to whom it is due, where it is due, to the team member, which will in turn help in motivating the team member. That was one of my positive points right from the beginning, and till date. And I enjoy doing that, because finally it's a teamwork and it's not an individual work when it comes to IT and management or even governance is concerned, for that matter. So if there is a mistake committed in spite of the best efforts in testing of the software changes, the code change fails at times. It has happened multiple times in my lifetime. And when it is failing, I take the blame as a team leader, team manager. But if it is successful, the credit is due to the team members who have made it happen. And it's always because of the team and not because of me as an individual. So ethical standards set in there, started training of the members to ensure that they are also up to the mark, so that they are also able to not worrying about, hey, whether they will leave and go if they are trained. That's not the concern, because you can always train the next set of team members, even if that is a concern. The bigger picture of the organization good was always in my mind as part of my ethical behavior. So that was always an aspect which was there. Then on, also as an IT team leader was able to do coordination, ensuring to bring the best among the team members, as well as across the technical teams and also the business user teams. See, it's not just the IT team, because you have to always collaborate with the business team leaders, team members, because they are the best in their business. They know their business best. So it is requiring, and you need to satisfy when you put in systems that their requirements are satisfied completely. Then, as part of my continuous upgrade and knowledge while doing my certification, be it in diploma on systems management or my certified information systems auditors examination, was always guided by ethical behavior to upkeep the highest standards of profession as well as a professional. Then when I continued my certification with COVID-5 Foundation and learned more understanding of organizational culture, ethics and behavior requirement, which was one of the 7 enablers. So all this brought in the concept of ethics right from all along I had, and improved it by understanding the requirements, even when it was IT management or it was IT governance. As a senior member of IT department, would ensure that the ethics is given highest priority. And I always set an example of practicing it rather than just preaching it to fellow colleagues and team members.
As to how and when you developed your interest in ESG.
And the issue of global warming and rise in sea levels, Mumbai being a sea coast and all that, threatening to submerge various islands in the world. So this concern is already there as part of the environment we are living in. It's a reality, especially global warming and all that. So this is resulting in a concern, and that led to create a culture, work culture, be it at work or even at home, in a manner that has minimal impact on the environment. It has got seeped into me. This relates to minimal wastage, proper reuse, while needing to print, even while printing, ensure that double-side printing is used, because obviously we are cutting out. If you can avoid going green is the best if possible, but if it cannot be avoided, keep it to a bare minimum, and also ensure that even at home, usage of plastic to a great extent is reduced. Use of reusable material carry bags to ensure the environment is safe. Now, this is as far as the environment is concerned. The same thing applies when we are working in the environment in the office or the organization, to ensure that this is practice. As they say, charity begins at home, and this ensures that you do it at home, and even in the office environment, it becomes easier, as second nature for you. As regarding the social aspect of ESG, working from my home country location, I feel blessed of able to work in a peaceful social setup. Very, very important. If you see the unrest which is going on in various places abroad, it becomes sometimes a concern. In fact, I learned early in my life that it's not just important that you and your family, friends and colleagues do well. It's equally important and relevant that the other surrounding people and the communities around you, they and their families also do fairly well. So progress is never in isolation for self and family, but a collective societal effort, which I understood right from the beginning, and this has been there in me ingrained. Having taken action and implemented steps towards possible upliftment of providing support when required, both in the office environment, supporting young team members, training them, providing them appropriately required support for personnel whom we come in touch with, and also in the home environment. Even during COVID time, it's not that everybody has done it, but they're just trying to put that point across. Maybe in a small measure, providing continual financial support for personal employed and be realistic in expectation. during the difficult and trying times of peaceful. A peaceful social setup goes a long way to make sustainable improvement and progress. So if your environment is peaceful, you are going to be peacefully working, and both in your organization as well as in your life. As far as the areas of governance is concerned in ESG, since about the time of understanding COVID-5 IT governance framework and its latest version of COVID 2019 was interested in IT governance, integral part of the corporate governance aspect of ESG. This continues to this day as part of the Seagate learning and understanding, with information technology being an integral part of corporate governance mechanisms. Thank you.
That's really very great. So our next question is also on the similar lines, like as an ESG and corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table?
Yeah, good question. And see, I had briefly explained that corporate governance, it refers to the corporation is governed. Corporate governance refers to the set of systems, principles, and processes. This was explained in the slide when I was explaining IT governance. Then on IT governance was explained, and IT governance we understood is a part of the corporate governance, and it is not a separate. It is not a separate thing. Then we went on to also see earlier on the IT governance framework, the governance principles, the governance structure, the governance processes, and all that. We also briefly saw COBIT, which was the framework for the control objectives for information and related technology, which was introduced initially by ISACA and then, of course, now followed widely by various organizations. Then there are standards which are like ITIL and all that. So this explains some aspect of the interest in ESG. If there is a question whether I would work to like an executive director or non-executive director, I prefer working as a non-executive director, assisting in monitoring the aspects of business activities and provide objectives, insights for decision making.
That's
The usage of cloud and infrastructure technology. And various standards which are there. Similar, if not same. The 20% specific in each industry would have to be learned and adopted to be best suited to industry. Means the concern could be there. Hey, you have been working all along with the airline industry. So if you could, can you work on some other industry? My take on this is that all along, because I've been working in an environment where the technology has been changing over the period of time when we work, thanks. It was a challenge, but actually it helped us make us more, what do they call, aware of change is the constant which is there, which they say. And what happens is this change, even when I'm working in the airline industry, when I work in passenger services, which is totally different from when I work in, say, the airline inventory parts management, or when I work with something else. So each time we had to learn the business, which is different from the business of the same industry. So it should not be a concern even working for any other industry, because I feel that the 80-20 principle would help me when 80% of the generic principles will remain across industry. The 20 specific to an industry, be it banking or be it any other industry, would be required to be learned, and which I'm willing to learn. And because I've been using always learning as an aspect of my career growth, so I don't think it's going to be a concern for me, even switching across industries, working as a non-executive director. Thank you.
That's really great. That's really very commendable, we must say. So moving ahead, when we talk about technology, as someone working closely with technology, what are some ways you want to leverage technological advents, namely IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, cloud, digital twin, big data, and Web 3.0 in your field?
Oh yeah, great question. And I actually, I will briefly touch upon it because each one is a big area. But IoT is a network of internet connected objects able to collect and exchange data. It's commonly abbreviated as IoT. So IoT is not new. If you see that I've been working right from 1983 in a real-time environment system with connected systems uh, across systems. So connectivity between uh, systems is not new. So IoT is a concept wherein now with the internet being the base communications protocol, the underlying network protocol, and the various equipments, be it your TV or fridge or maybe any other equipment which collects information, talking to each other, should be usable for predictive maintenance, would be useful for energy management, automated inventory management. Obviously, it can be used for, and it can use for connected customer experience and shipping, and also for transportation. So IoT is one area which is of definitely use, and because they are already networked and connected, it's while it looks new, but actually uh, the technologies have made it possible much easier, I would say. That's one, as far IoT is concerned. And then uh, if you talk about actually blockchain, in fact, I had put up an article on blockchain for insurance industry. Although I was in the airline industry a couple of years back, 2 years back, I had put something, and I was explaining how the insurance industry, which is the insurance industry mainly has the risk to mitigate in terms of life, health, or the liability, and how blockchain, which can provide this thing. Basically, as far as insurance is concerned, there are two viewpoints: the viewpoint of the buyer of the insurance, or the viewpoint of the insurance company we have. And when we say blockchain is nothing but a distributed transaction database, a kind of general ledger or registry. So each completed transaction is encrypted. The involved participants are identified by a string of characters, and also the transaction becomes part of the block. After a certain amount of time, it becomes part of the block, and blocks are a group of transactions that are linked. So that's blockchain. And blockchain forms the basis of the Web 3.0, as we all know. And basically, what happens is the advantage of blockchain and Web 3.0 is that it ensures that since the transactions are encrypted and it's actually immutable, what happens is it gives a confidence and for the user of that particular and also there's a concept of smart contracts, which are nothing but standalone programs that once started automatically execute predefined conditions encoded within the blockchain. So the blockchain offers features of autonomy, decentralization, security, and transparency. And blockchain technology, with the two main technical features of asymmetric cryptography and distributed systems, ensures that the various aspects which are required to be taken care as far as the productivity and the quality gains is possible. The use of blockchain will ensure that the automated checks to be done can be made possible. And Web 3.0 is a concept of decentralized applications, and blockchain provides the underlying network, letting users connect directly with one another without the need for middlemen. So blockchain serves as an underlying infrastructure for Web 3.0, assuring the security and transparency of distributed applications. As far as AI ML is concerned, AI is there everywhere. Actually, if you see AI and ML, again, AI is not new, it has been there, but with the advent of so much of improved machine learning and all that aspects, it has become more popular now than it was earlier. So artificial involves creating computer system that can perform tasks typically requiring human intelligence. Now, here we have narrow AI concept, we have generic AI. Narrow AI is specific expertise where you have the Alexa and all those people. They are specific, they do specific activities. They listen to a command and they perform that activity. now. But the general AI is the more important one, which is human-like intelligence. Not easier said than done, but thanks to the various technology which are there, the machine learning and all that, there are some challenges and implications of general AI, like ethical concerns, safety and control, technological complexity. Machine learning is a subset of AI, if I can say that. It enables machines to learn from data without explicit programming. So ML algorithms allows devices to improve performance. There is something called a supervised learning, there is an unsupervised learning, and there is a reinforcement learning, which is there as part of machine learning. So I would say artificial intelligence, the development of computer systems that mimic human intelligence. It involves machine learning, where algorithms learn from data to make predictions, and deep learning, which uses neural networks to process complex patterns. This is in brief. Digital twins, of course, is there, which ensures that actually digital twins is a very good one, because wherein we can have a production one and we can have a mirror of it, and you can simulate that in the simulated environment, so that once you're tested, the data could be coming in real-time basis, and then once you're tested, that information can be brought into the production system or made online. Those changes can be made on. Yes, they are. All these concepts are interesting. Some of these are actually there, but they're taken new forms thanks to technology, thanks to the upgrades, and thanks to various other surrounding information and I would say tools which are available now, making it easier.
Yes. So moving ahead, we want to know, as you know, we are building a community of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So what are your thoughts about this initiative taken about by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Himal Mehta, and the whole World Development Corporation team?
I would want to say, wow. I actually, here I would want to really honestly say my son gave me this opportunity of knowing about WDC, and since then I have become fida ho gaya my word WDC se, if I can use it. WDC is see, if you see the WDC vision statement, I was reading your website sometime back, to change the way people live in the world by making their lives more comfortable, by taking the world to its best. Wow. Mission statement, it says creating groundbreaking technology and business innovations, build sustainable practices, create 100x value. This, of course, I'm reading out from your website, for the end user, and work towards economic development, societal benefit, great, and environmental sustainability through high-end technology and solutions. I would say the WDC team's action to enable cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants. I don't call myself a giant, but I'm a student still. And the industry experts speaks for itself. I find this initiative, which ought to be an initiative of the state or central government, is being done by WDC, and is laudable to come up with a well thought out program to enable bridge the gap between requirement of the market and existing supply of NEDs, non-executive directors, in the country, even probably we could say in the world. The initiative taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, I've been answering all the modules, so Zishan Pathan has been there explaining out the point. Himal Mehta sir is also there, and the whole development corporation team in its entirety, I would say, because I'm sure it's a teamwork, is God sent, if I can use that term, in working methodically, in bringing together diverse experience, but dispersed individuals, having senior and top management experience, onto a unified common platform. This would increase the productivity of the board of directors of various listed entities in India and also in the world.
Thank you so much. These have been really very kind words, we must say. So it was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you, Mr. Ashok Harinarayan, for joining us today. We wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute unquestionably has expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds. And all the wonderful different career journey so far. I'm sure like everyone watching this, it is going to help them and grow in their careers as well. So thank you so much once again for being with us today on FaceTime with Leaders, and we wish you have a great day.
Oh, you too. Thank you very much for giving your time. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.